Hey there, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cerise Fairfax. I'm coming at you from the north coast of the Dominican Republic in a province by the name of Puerto Plata, in a municipal by the name of Sosua, in an area right here called Los Charamicos. Now, during this video, I'm going to tell you about a disturbing story that happened right here. Please, if it bothers you to hear disturbing stories, I am giving you a heads up right now. Check out my other stories, check out my other videos. But we're going to walk and talk, and I'm going to show you a little bit in this video of the area that I live in the local area. And not only that, I want you to know that on this channel, we talk about random videos. More specifically, on Tuesday, I do the Dominican news. On Thursday, I do story time. I call them truth tales. And not only that, I do a lot of random videos on apartments. If you're looking for an apartment, budget friendly, luxury, give me a shout. If you're looking for real estate, if you're looking to come here and relocate, give me a shout. I can help you out. All right. This story, like I said, is disturbing. But hey, listen, there are a lot of people that come here to the Dominican Republic and they fall in love. Relationships here can become very intense. Some of them not long lasting. Others, they last for a very long time and the relationships are awesome. This particular relationship, it started out with a guy named Rick. Now, Rick never came here before, but him and 10 of his friends came here. They were planning it for an entire year. Rick was with a woman in the United States for 14 years, and they went through a breakup. You see, she wasn't very gentle with him. She wasn't very loving with him. He did everything for her, and she just treated him like he was nothing. Now, he does have a beta personality. He's not really the type that is an alpha male. And, he just likes to kind of cool max and relax. He doesn't like arguing and fighting. So he dealt with the woman for a long time until they broke up, and it was a very bad breakup. It took him a while to get over it. His buddies were like, listen, come to the Dominican Republic, unload your energy, meet some women that are going to treat you really well, and, hey, maybe even fall in love. You never know. So he was like, yeah, you know what? Let's do it. So they planned it for an entire year. Now, Rick contacted me because he was watching a lot of my videos, as all 10 of the men were. And he said to me, he's like, I wanted to reach out to you because I just want to let you know I'm going to be in town and I've been watching a lot of your videos and I know you do consultations. I'm going to be with a lot of my friends, but I wanted to meet you personally if I can take you out for a drink or a bite to eat. He's like, a lot of your videos make me want to move there and I haven't even been there yet. And I was like, sure, no worries. Let's do it, And so he said, all right. So he was keeping in touch with me. Now, when he arrived here, now I got them a 12-bedroom villa and they loved it. They were, wow. And I mean, all of them putting in the money every day for the villa. The villa was $450 a night. And there was 10 guys. So they weren't spending a lot of money. 12-bedroom villa, they were kicking their feet up. They had a beautiful pool. They were enjoying it. Now, it was also during the time of a carnival. Here in the Dominican Republic, we have carnival once a year. They went to the La Vega carnival. Now, La Vega is in another province here on the island, and they got a driver. The driver was driving a big bus, drove them all to the La Vega carnival. The carnival is more like Mardi Gras meets Caravana, and it was awesome. Now, they were only planning to go there for the day. When Rick got there, this one woman walked straight over to him and gave him exactly what his ex never gave him: passion, attention, love, respect. And she looked him right in the eyes and she said, hi, ¿tú hablas español? Do you speak Spanish? And he said, no, I don't speak Spanish. I don't understand. And she said, that's okay. I speak English. what's your name? And he said, oh, my name's Rick. And she's like, how long are you here for? Like, you're American? And he said, yes. And he said, oh, I'm just here for the day. And she was like, oh, wow. She's like, so, I can show you guys around if you like. And he's like, well, we have our driver who's going to show us around, but hey, I mean, if you want to come hang out with me and my friends, that'll be great. Now, she was with two friends, but she was like, she was just leaving them and she went with Rick and his buddies. She met them 11 o'clock in the morning. It was 2 o'clock in the morning and they were tired. They were buzzed up. They were like, it's time to go. So he said to her at 2 o'clock in the morning, he said, okay, I'm going to head out with my friends. We're going to go back to Sosua. And she was like, okay. And he's like, well, what are you doing? You want to come back? And, maybe when we get to Sosua, like, he's like, man, I'd rather be here with you in La Vega than my friends in Sosua. And she was like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, listen, come back to Sosua with me. I'll grab my suitcase. I'll rent a car and we can drive back here and I'll hang out with you for a few days. Now, this is the thing. Rick, like I said, was saving up for a year before he came. He lived with his mom in his mom's basement. So it's not like, he was making a lot of money or anything, but he did have a couple of bucks that he was saving and stuff of that nature. And, he thought this is what he saved it for. He saved it to meet a good woman, to rent a car, go travel the island. And the few days that he was in Sosua before he went to La Vega, he felt safe. And in La Vega, he felt safe with her. So he thought, he's calling the shots. Why not live life to the fullest? And that's what happened. He went back to Sosua with her. They chilled out. They were enjoying that rest of the day. They were by the pool. And then at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he's like, all right, let's go. I'm going to get you home. So they got back to La Vega. Now, this is another thing. He booked an Airbnb from Sosua for them to go back to in La Vega. And when they got to the Airbnb, he stayed with her there for about 3 days. During that time, things got pretty intense. They did a lot of pillow talking. He was even talking about taking her back to the United States one day. And she was loving it. He took her out shopping. He got her some clothes. He even got himself some clothes. And then he met her two children. Her two children were with her mom. She lived with her mom and her two kids. She took him back home. Like, she showed him her place. And he was like, wow, okay. So it was like two, walls. Four walls and a zinc roof. And, he stayed there for a couple of days, but he said to her, he's like, listen, like, I really can't stay here much longer. You don't have any hot water. Sometimes you don't have any running water. There's huge cockroaches flying in the middle of the night. He couldn't do it. He said, I'm a different culture. I live by different standards. I'm sorry. I can't do it. And she's like, so what are you going to do? And he said, well, listen, I had a really good time with you. This was really great. He said, I'm going to drive back to Sosua. You can drive back with me, and then I'll send you back on the bus. I'm going to stay with my buddies, have a good time, and then I'm going to fly out with them, and I'll come back like in a couple of months or so. I just, need to get back to, the States. I wasn't expecting to stay this long because some of his friends out of the 10, some of them were staying for a couple of months. Some of them were staying just for a couple of weeks. And so she was like, okay, baby, all right. But I'm really gonna miss you. You sure you're coming back? And he's like, yeah. So he took her back to Sosua with him. Everything was great. Everything was wonderful. And like, he really felt like he met the woman of his dreams. He went back to the United States. Everything was sweet. He was sending her some money every now and again, but not much. And, she wasn't asking for anything. He was freely sending her a couple of bucks and told her to go get her nails done, go get her hair done. He's one of those guys that loves to protect and provide. So finally, after talking on the phone for 3 months, every single day, all day long, he decided that he saved enough money to get here and be comfortable that he is actually able to take care of himself and her and everything of that nature. Now, she wanted him to stay with her. She said, you know what, just stay with me because, you're going to be spending like, and he was coming back. He had a plan to stay for 3 months. She said, come stay with me because you know why? If you're going to be spending like, $1,000 a month on that place, then you can stay with me and you can help me fix my house so cockroaches are not going in. You can help fix the roof, and that $3,000 you can put in, they can fix it, and you can stay with me. We'll make it comfortable. And he said, okay. He was like, all right, you know what? Let's do it. Because he wanted to take care of her. So he did. He gave her $3,000 and he paid for the repairs on her house. And it did repair it perfectly. There were no more cockroaches coming in. It was actually good. They painted the outside of the house. He felt very, very happy. Then he started to feel like, okay, maybe 3 months is too long, because what happened was he started to spend too much money. And the money that he took for 3 months was really going away quickly. Now, he did work online. He was answering calls online and talking to people online. I'm not sure what type of job it was exactly, but it was like a call center type of job. But this is the thing. The internet in her area was sketchy. So he had to get back to work. He couldn't be on the internet and, losing calls and stuff of that nature. And he said to her, he said, look, he's got to go back. He's sorry. But, and he was really falling in love with her kids. He's never had kids. He really loved her mom. It was just a great situation. He felt like it was just really good. And so she said to him, she said, okay, well, like, how long are you going to go for? You said you were staying for 3 months. And he's like, listen, he said, he spent a lot of money. He said he spent the 3,000. She's like, well, you would have spent that anyway on rent. He's like, yeah, but I would have been spending the rest of my money only on me. He said, but I've been spending money on you and the kids and your mom. Feeding 4 people plus myself is not really what I thought I was going to do. And I don't mind. I enjoy it. I love your family. But, he said he has to go back home and make more money in order to make things work. And she said, all right. So he did. He went back home and he stayed home, this time for 8 months. Now, he didn't want to be gone that long. She didn't want him to be gone that long. But really, at the end of the day, he had no choice, because he knew that when he went back to her place, he was going to be feeding 5 mouths, including him, right? So he knew that he had to, it's not just going to be saving money for 3 months. He knew he had to sacrifice. So 8 months in, and then finally he gets on the plane and he's going back. Now he is stacked. This man didn't even buy a McDonald's burger, is what he said to me. He's like, Cerise, I didn't even pamper myself in those 8 months. I saved every cent, sent her a little bit here and there. He said, but overall, that money was all for the Dominican Republic and to live there for at least 5 months. Now he gets here and he's 4 months in, and he's like, man, money's good, but money's tight. And he's thinking, shoot, he couldn't really even hardly scrape up enough money to get his flight home. He was really spending a lot of money, and she didn't really look at it as money being spent. She was spending his money for him. And remember, he is a beta male, so he wasn't saying no. He just kept saying to her, look, the money's going really quickly. Okay, so fast forward. Finally, he said to her, he's got to go. And like, he didn't have enough money to leave with her. And so he didn't know really what to do. He knew he had to get back to the United States. This woman told him he's lying. She said, "You're lying. You have money. You just don't want to be here any longer. You keep doing this. You must have a family." And he's like, "No." He's like, "I don't have any kids at all. I live with my mom. I live in her basement." And she's like, "That's not your mom. That you have a wife. That's not your mother." Now, his mother had him when his mom was very young. His mom was only 17 when she had him, and his mom looked good. And his mom would call him baby. Every single time he'd call his mom would say, "Hey baby, how you doing?" And so this girl would often think that that was not his mom. He never ever, really let his mom talk to the girl, but the girl did see them having like video calls every now and again and stuff like that. He was, his mom knew he was with a girl in the Dominican Republic, but the mom didn't want to be all up in his business, and he didn't feel that she needed to be. He was living his life, grown man, and so that was pretty much it. She felt like that was his mom. I mean, his mom was his girl. So what she did when he was getting ready to go to the airport, the day of his flight, she locked him in the bathroom. Now, she cut up all his clothes, but this is what she did. He's in the shower, and, he goes to get out the shower. There's no towel. There's no clothing in the bathroom, the clothing that he was going to get dressed with. And he yells for her, "Babe!" She goes into the bathroom. She looks at him. And he's like, "What's going on?" He noticed right away on her face that something was wrong. And she said, "I don't want you to leave." He said, "I have to." She said, "Because you have a wife. That woman's your wife." And he said, "No, she's not. I told you before. It's my mom. Stop that foolishness. Where are my clothes at, man? I got to get dressed." She's like, "I cut them up." He said, "You did what?" He said, "Look, stop fooling around. Go get my clothes." She showed him the clothes from behind her back. And then she also threw his cell phone on the ground. It was smashed. The whole front screen was smashed. She threw that on the ground. Then she closed the bathroom door and locked it with a padlock on the outside. Yes. Could you believe it? Now, the way the bathroom was, it wasn't inside of the house. It was more like an outhouse. So they would have a padlock on that door so nobody else from other houses would go in and use the washroom. It was in a very, local area. So they always had a padlock on that door anyway. And she locked him in that outhouse. He started to scream. He couldn't even push his way out because it was all cement, except for the door. But the door was made with solid wood. He was trying to push himself out. He couldn't get himself out. He had to drink the water from the shower. She just left him for the whole entire day. He said to me, "Cerise, when the sun came up, that's when I knew that it was the new day." He said he decided just to kind of stop crying and whimpering, pretend he was dead. And then she knocked on the door and she said, "Are you all right? Are you hungry?" And he didn't answer. So she said, "Okay, well, if you don't answer, then I guess you're dead." And he was like, no, like, let me out. I gotta go. She said, "You already missed your flight. No one's gonna miss you. Your mom knows that you love me. It's your mom, right?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, it's my mom. You gotta let me out of here." And he's like, "If you don't let me out, then how are we supposed to be together?" She said, "Well, we weren't going to be. You keep playing games. You didn't even post any photos of me on Facebook yet." And he said, "That's because I don't do Facebook." So she threw a couple of eggs, boiled eggs, underneath the roof and some bread. Now, the roof had an opening between the roof and also the walls. And she threw in some boiled eggs and some bread, and it landed on the floor. And he was like, oh my gosh. He didn't know what to do. His mom knew something was wrong because he didn't get home on his flight, and he would have called if he changed his flight. Not only that, his phone was off, and his phone would never be off. His mom knew that he was attached to that phone. Not once since he's ever had a cell phone could she call him and never get a hold of him. So the mom worried, and the mom called the embassy, and there was nothing that they didn't know her phone number. The mom didn't even really know her. Again, the mom saw a photo of her once, but nothing too much. So they didn't know where to get him. They didn't know where to find him. The mom did know the word La Vega, but La Vega is huge. So this is the thing. One photo did get taken of her, and it was when he took her to Sosua, when his boys were there. And one of his friends took a photo. That guy went through all the photos and he found it. Now, of course, that was like almost a year ago, right? Almost a year before. So he found the photo, and that photo they used. The police went around and asked a lot of people in La Vega if they knew the woman. They went around and, do you know this woman? Do you know this woman? Finally, they found where the woman lived, just by chance. And when they found where she lived, they found where her house was. Now, she lived a little bit far out in the Campo area, which means country. And when they went there, the neighbors were like, yeah, we know this guy. Like, he was with her all the time. We know him. That's the gringo. And he's at her house. And they went and they found, like, when they got there, he heard a whole bunch of noise. He heard, Policia, Policia. And he heard, and he knows Policia means police. And he started to bang on the wood door. He was like, get me out, get me out. And the police went and they cut the lock off the door. And he went out, and obviously he was unscathed. He was healthy. Everything was good. It was really 3 days in total that he was in there. He has never returned back to the Dominican Republic. He's scared. Now, this is a story that doesn't happen to everyone. The story usually that happens to people is, a guy falls in love and spends a lot of money on the girl. And the worst thing is usually the girl will end up getting pregnant by someone else. Maybe she already had a boyfriend. Maybe she lies to him about things. Those are the common stories. This is a really scary story. This one here doesn't happen often. So I don't want this to reflect on any other relationships. You don't have to be afraid. But I will say this. When you come to the Dominican Republic or anywhere around the world, and you are a foreigner, always let your family know where you are staying. And if you don't have family, then contact someone like myself, a vlogger, somebody who you're in contact with, some friends, and just say, hey, this is where I will be staying. Send the photo of the person you will be staying with and say, this is the person I'm going to be staying with. If you don't post on social media, totally your choice. But it's really important for you to be vocal where you are staying and who you're going to be with. Guys, this was today's Truth Tale. Thursday Truth Tale. I thank you so much for being here. Please take a moment, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like button if this is your kind of content. And remember, be good to yourself out there. If you're looking to come here to the Dominican Republic, I have a great network system going on. If you would like to get something, like I said, budget friendly and rent, or if you would like to get something like a luxury villa, give me a shout. I have a lot of friends here, a lot of Dominican family as well. And so if you're looking just to come and kick your feet up and have a real good time, get to know the culture, get to know the traditions, maybe even fall in love yourself, then I would say go for it. My information is in the comments below and also in the description below. I look forward to talking to you. Huge hugs, loads of love, and big blessings. Be good to yourself out there. Tomorrow's not promised. Make the best of today.